And welcome back to the Week 6 edition of the John Carroll Football Preview Show. As I just mentioned, we have a very special guest for our interview this week. He is the OAC Defensive Player of the Week. He had a fumble return touchdown in last week's victory over Marietta. It is my pleasure to introduce Blue Streak safety Michael Palmer. Michael, thanks for joining us this week.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So it's going to look into your days right before John Carroll. You're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You attended Mount Lebanon High School. You didn't just play football. You played basketball and track and field as well. What ultimately made you decide on going to JCU?
Well, ultimately it had to do with a lot of things. Took a while for me to kind of decide. Playing basketball throughout the recruiting process kind of pushed it back until after that was done, but a few schools really caught my interest the most, and then ultimately the coaches and then just a lot of the players that I was able to come in that I stayed with while on my recruiting visits ultimately just sold the job for me. So
yeah, and just kind of building on those players that you were able to meet even before you became a Blue Streak. One of those, you were telling me right before we got started here, was fellow safety from Pennsylvania, former Blue Streak, Nate Leopold. He's now a personnel assistant with the Houston Texans. What is your relationship like with him?
Yeah, we're brothers, I guess you could probably call that, but he was the guy that really sold a lot of stuff for me first coming here, and then just really developed an awesome relationship throughout, and then still in contact today, almost daily probably. So he's probably the guy that most, I guess, affected me to come here and throughout the whole thing just keep going.
Yeah, and I think I saw on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, earlier this week, you were named the OAC Defensive Player of the Week. Again, congratulations on that. I think I saw Nate say that was like a big brother moment.
Yeah,
huh?
Exactly. So that's kind of how we feel about each other. So pretty cool stuff from him to keep supporting with what he's got going on too. So pretty special stuff.
Definitely. So a lot of that brotherhood, again, being established early and often with players for John Carroll. So looking at you personally with your stats this year, you had 12 tackles in 2019. That was your first season as a Blue Streak. You had 11 in the spring season, shortened in the spring of 2021. Through just 5 games this season, you've already recorded 12 tackles, so reaching that previous career high, including a tackle for loss, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery as well this season. So what has been working well for you this season as your role is starting to increase in the Blue Streak defense?
I'd probably say just senior leadership. I was probably the most experienced safety coming back, which obviously we've been a pretty young core, and then coming into it, I kind of had to take over that leadership role with a couple guys that have left this past year. So my whole idea was to try to just get in the playbook as much as possible, be that extra coach on the field, as they say. So I guess that kind of allowed me to play a little faster, really expect what's going on, just get into the film. And then I've really learned about like preparation is a pretty big key. It's not all about like what you can do. It's what you can do when you know like what is going on, or just a step ahead basically. So that's kind of what's allowed me to, I guess, be a step ahead this year versus past years.
And you kind of talk about those big shoes to fill. A pair of those safeties who were on the team last season, again, Nate Leopold, who we've already talked about, and also Tyshawn Jones. What kind of advice or words of wisdom maybe did you take away from your time with them as they were with John Carroll?
Well, yeah, all of them, and then even Jake Panofsky, Nick, I'd say Herb because his last name's just crazy, but
Urbanowitz, yes.
But all of them, I mean, I was here since I came here. They were all here. They were all playing, and just kind of picking their brains as I was a younger kid, just not really know what was going on. And then even in the spring when Jake and Nate were around as well, helping us out, it was a weird transition, I guess, in the spring when I'm there and I'm like, they're not here anymore. So it kind of made me work a little harder and realize that I have to be that guy. So just them saying like the preparation and then just continuing to keep going every single day has been, I guess, the biggest thing that they've taught me throughout this whole process.
That's very good to hear that they were able to instill that type of mentality in you as your role, again, is starting to increase in this John Carroll defense. Blue Streak safety Michael Palmer is our guest for the Week 6 interview. So looking back again at last week, had a great performance. You were named OAC Defensive Player of the Week after what you did against Marietta. A key part of that performance was a 77-yard fumble return touchdown that you had near the end of the first half. What was going through your mind on that big play?
Well, our coach dialed up a great blitz. I was untouched through the middle, and the quarterback was kind of able to avoid me there. So as I got up, looked down, and the ball was right there. So it was kind of crazy to just kind of see it there, and it was almost like a surreal moment. And I've never been known for my speed, is what everyone was on me for. But it was a really, really cool moment. It was almost moving like in slow motion. And then not even really being an offensive guy like ever, that's only like my second touchdown through high school and college, so it was a pretty cool experience to walk through the end zone with that. And especially looking back and seeing all the guys running down, it was probably like 10 different guys on our team running in the end zone, and then our sideline going crazy, which we don't want the sideline warning, but at the same time, it's pretty cool to see when you're the one running through the end zone and your team's got you like that.
I can certainly imagine. That's great seeing that players on both sides of the ball really encouraging you throughout that entire play, and then greeting a bunch of them after reaching the end zone. Even a couple lead blockers in front of you too.
Exactly right. I mean, I haven't seen Bricker Teal run that fast ever. And he was moving for sure. And then Josh as well. We were making a joke about his field goal block when we were sophomores. I was one of the lead blockers on his, so he was like, I had to get you back on that. So he took off too. It almost seemed like he was running even faster than when he had the ball our sophomore year, which was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like a you owe me one type of deal. Yeah, that was a blocked field goal return touchdown by fellow safety Josh McLean against Baldwin Wallace in the spring 2021 season. So now looking at this week, you're facing Ohio Northern. They're fresh off of a bye week. What will Team 100 need to do to earn its fifth consecutive victory?
Well, we just have to continue to do what we're doing. I feel like we're doing a pretty good job these last 4 weeks or so, just playing complementary football on all three phases especially. And then specifically defensively, they're coming off a bye. They have a lot of different weapons, like guys that have been there for a long time, so they understand it. So we just can't fall asleep in the pass, run game, whatever it may be. We just have to stay true to what our coaches are dialing up and just continue to play relentless football like we have been recently.
So one game at a time, certainly what it sounds like you guys are taking into this week. Now we're going to look a little bit off of the football field, talking a lot of football so far here. You are a senior here at John Carroll, and you're an exercise science major. Do you have any plans in mind for when your time at John Carroll is complete?
Recently, about a month and a half ago, I'm planning on going chiropractic school down in Florida, and I recently got into Palmer Chiropractic, which is a cool coincidence with the last name and everything. But yeah, that's the plan for next October. I'll be going down there.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask if there was any relation with that, but again, congratulations on that. Very well deserved. And also, what do you enjoy doing when you're not on the football field?
I guess the chiropractic part, I've always been into like kind of how the body works and just helping others. So I guess that's just a nice little passion of mine where I just like to see like what exactly goes on in the body, whether it's like recovery or strength and conditioning, that type of thing. And then other than that, really not too much other than just friends, family, hanging out. But a lot of sports for me, so that's what I've always grown up as, and that's probably how it'll be for a long time.
So sports definitely a big part of your life,
yes,
it sounds
definitely.
like. So now we're going to transition into our final segment here of our Week 6 interview. I do want to thank you again, Michael, for taking the time to join us this week. I call it Rapid Fire every week. I really need to change the name at this point because there's no timer or anything. It's just a couple favorites that we'd like to ask you about just to have Blue Streak Nation get to know their safety a bit better. Are you ready?
Yep, we're all ready.
All right, cool. Your favorite food?
Sushi.
I think that's the first sushi that I have heard all season. I've been hearing lots of steak and everything like that.
I'm not a huge steak guy, and I have chicken a lot. So I guess sushi is probably my hometown. There's a place that is number one and will always be number one. So I guess that's the first one I'll say.
Awesome. Favorite show?
Breaking Bad.
Favorite movie? Even me a couple if it is kind of tough.
I want to say Pulp Fiction. I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction. My dad will be proud of me for that one.
Alrighty. How about your favorite music artist?
I'd probably just be mainstream. I'd probably say Drake. He's number one in my opinion. We always have that debate in the locker room too, so I'm gonna go with Drake.
So is it like kind of a week to week thing? Who gets the music for pregame or anything? Or
no,
how does that go down?
It's just I don't know. It's just kind of random at times, but I'm good with almost every artist, so not a big issue for me.
Gotcha. And your favorite all-time football player?
It's pretty easy for me. You want to guess it or?
I'll let you take it away.
Big Ben, of course.
Yep, Pittsburgh area.
He's my favorite all time. Always will be too.
That certainly makes sense. So, I'm taking it you grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Oh yeah, Pitt, Steelers. Not a big hockey guy, but I still root for the Penguins, so
there you
Pittsburgh
go.
For me.
There you go. From Pittsburgh, all Pittsburgh. Certainly makes sense. Well, Michael, that's about all the time we have this week. Do want to thank you once again for sitting down with us, and best of luck against Ohio Northern.
Yep, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was Blue Streak safety Michael Palmer for our Week 6 interview, and coming up, a bit of a preview of today's matchup between your D3Football.com 25th ranked John Carroll Blue Streaks and the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, right here on your home for the Blue Streaks, WJCU 88.7.